Hey lovely sexy gaming people, welcome to today's video, which is a flick through Wargames Illustrated Issue 428. It says August 2023. I'm still on the catch up from the time I took out to attempt my end-to-end walk, but this one, great picture here, American War of Independence, that's what AWI stands for those that don't know. But let's have a quick look and see what we've got, shall we? So, contents, then subscriptions, and then we're into observation posts. New and forthcoming wargame stuff you need to know about. Gripping Beast, Ragnarok miniature Verger. So this looks like Norse Viking type miniatures. The ever hungry maw of the gripping beast has consumed the wares of another company, or to put it a little less dramatically, the good folks at Gripping Beast are now manufacturing and distributing Colin Patton's Ragnarok miniatures. So there you go, 28mm scale, these guys. Period fantasy, metal, and you can find them at grippingbeast.co.uk. Grey for now, Test of Honour, Takeda's Court. So this is Japanese feudal, 28mm Sengoku period Japan, metal miniatures and plastic horses from greyfornow.com. World War One trench system, what's this? So it's a 60-page full colour softback small format rulebook, 6 figures, dice and gaming mats. So 28mm scale, World War One. This is saying it's priced at £50 for the set by the look of it. And it's available from pandyman.co.uk. And we have some sci-fi miniatures here. Now these look like they could be used as gangers and stuff like that, maybe in Necromunda and such. But it says the Stargrave, the plastics for Stargraves grows with the release of the new Scavengers box set. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, you could use these as, you could probably put these into games of 40k as well, and use them as Chaos Cultists, that sort of thing. 28mm sci-fi, 20 quid, hard plastic from North Star Figures. And under the microscope, mix and match, Stargrave Scavengers still. So yeah. Release radar. Okay, what do we got left? World War II US Navy landing party there. Napoleonic ship captains and Doctor, which are these two. And ancient sea peoples, which are these. So, and some of the plastic minis there. Wargames Atlantic. myminifactory.com. We have Turn Against the Crooked Dice. They've made some cracking new Kraken Troopers available online. So there you go. And then from Normandy Miniatures, we got an AMX 30 and yeah, it just says AMX 30. 15mm and 20mm. Yep, there you go, both of those. Terrific tabletops. These look like sectional hills from mdminis.co.uk. And then we've got some rock sections here, some hedges, what look like streams. We've got a star fort here. 28mm scale MDF resin kits. So Old West buildings, Southeast Asian miscellany and more. War elephant, great. And we've got a dragon down here. So what are these guys? Staying in the region, Pendragon recently released a huge range of 10mm figures for the Korean War, so slightly more modern than the Shampa. And what a release, it's a full 67 different codes covering the American, British, Chinese, South Korean and North Koreans. These cover nearly all the artillery types, assets you might need, and some you didn't know you needed to fill gaps in the existing ranges. The British, American and Chinese artillery also come in summer and winter versions. That's handy. The most interesting pieces are the Chinese cavalry below left, so that's these guys here, and the Chinese PSYOP teams left, which I'm assuming is this. They've got speakers on poles. Okay, bolt action, and then quick fire. So short quick read posts from WI readers about their hobby projects, notes, news and observations. So some really good stuff here. Roswell 98, which is future dystopia. And then we've got Medieval Knights and Soldiers of Foot. Right, so here we go. This looks like American War of Independence, which might be the main hook through this magazine this month. Loose Files and American Scramble. So we've got a few pages here talking about rules and scales, etc. Command, points, movement, and so on. Then we've got designer's notes. Right, returning to old favourites. So this is this guy's collecting old school armies, so they'd be like the metal miniatures, which were often painted in a glossy finish. Some of the miniatures, I don't know if anybody remembers the Britain's range of miniatures that you could buy in sort of like a 1/32 scale for World War II. I can remember getting some of those to go with my 1/32 scale Airfix soldiers that I had, and they were almost kind of like that old school vibe with a metal base, but they were a plastic mini. So they do look good ranked up though. So revisiting an old friend. Talking about different bits and pieces. Citadel Miniatures Painting Guide. Now that's old. And then we are coming into bigging it up by shrinking it down. So this is Battle of Orgrim, and how they dealt with the size of the battlefield. So what size have they reduced this down to? 15mm figures. This established our base sizes. We then realised that only 15mm figures or smaller would fit on bases this size. So there you go. That's what they've done. But, you know, they still look good. Cannon, supply wagon. The board looks fantastic. You know, even though it's all modular scenery, it still looks fantastic. Great overall shot there. Right, map of the battlefield, circa 1752, with views of the terrain in 2023. So I like it when they do this. Obviously they can't necessarily provide photographs from 1752, but I like it when they do it with older battlefields and then show you what it looks like now. But I also like it when they do it with more modern battlefields, for example like World War I or World War II, and then they show you photographs from that era and then a modern photograph taken in the same spot. I do like it when they do that. And then we've got the Swedish Team Yankee box here with the Stridsvagen SV103, I think it is, but it was just done to reduce to S-Tank. 3-man crew with an autoloader, if I remember rightly, and there was a pneumatic system that allowed the tracks to elevate the gun, and then it would traverse by using its tracks. Really, really brilliant, ingenious design. I can understand why it didn't go into mass use around the world, you know, with the traditional we're going to put a turret on it, but for a low silhouette, absolutely fantastic. Fashoda Showdown. What's this? Nick Buxley, inspired by a piece he wrote in 2020, presents a what-if scenario for Death in the Dark Continent and our revisited theme. 2 years ago, I wrote an article about colonial gunboat action in the African continent. So there you go. And then we've got this great map of Africa 1896, showing you essentially who owned what. And it's, I'm not being funny, but a lot of the world's ills are down to the colonialism of the European countries. Great miniatures again. Tabletop terrain. Loving this little fort, ruined fort here. So, Citadel to Perry miniatures via Foundry. As part of our revisited theme, we caught up with Alan and Michael Perry and chatted about their early historical figures and assessed the progress they've made since their early days at Citadel and Wargames Foundry. I mean, the Perry boys did sculpt a lot of stuff for Games Workshop. I understand that a lot of their, I think a lot of the Lord of the Rings range were done by the Perry boys, if I remember rightly. Making acacia trees. So nice little tutorial here, modelling tutorial. Using a wireframe and then coating it, and then adding in your clump foliage, and then giving you some alternatives here as well. Go again, sir. Barry Hilton makes the case for more cavalry on the tabletop. I get a little bit despondent with cavalry, because if they're not written with great rules which help them perform their main rules, you know, not their main rules, but their main role, I should say, which was to harass an enemy by lightning strikes and then melting away, or to run an enemy down after they've been routed. So I think too many people try and use cavalry like infantry and run them into an infantry block and stuff like that, and because the rules don't always reflect what their roles were, which I think is a shame. That's a nice horse. So we've got a little painting tutorial here for a bay or chestnut, and then a grey, Thane Tostig. What's this? Daniel Mercy's quest for Thane Tostig, delving back into retro war games. Okay, so this kind of makes me feel that it's like a Norse thing. There's some great miniatures though. There's a giant there. Check that sort of like carrion worm out. Carrion crawler. Maori Pa in the early New Zealand wars. So they've covered this a few times actually, the Maori wars, in this magazine, and it seems that we've come back to it. So this is information on different units, I think, by the look of it. Look like unit cards. Congreve Rocket or Cohorn Mortar, Naval Guns, New Zealand Militia or Volunteer Officer, New Zealand Militia, Militia Sappers or Volunteers. So yeah, they look like data cards for units. And then making a modular Maori Pa, how they did it. Again, this, you know, you could also use something similar for, say for example, Edoras, or a Saxon village with a palisade. And then we're into the last few pages of adverts on the back page. So there you go, that was issue 428, August 2023. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, take care, bye bye.